The Indigenous imprisonment has become one of the country's predicaments. The imprisonment rate of Indigenous people is soaring. A recent research from the Rigma Witten and West Mountain of the Conversation showed that the proportion of Indigenous in prison has increased since 1991. In 2015, Indigenous Australia made up 27.4% of the national prison population while only making up only 2.5% of the overall Australian population. Indigenous people were 15.4 times more likely to be detention than non-Indigenous people, especially in Northern Territory around 85% of prisoners are Indigenous. Apart from those chilly figures, the imprisonment rate of Indigenous juveniles should invite more concern. 59% of people in juvenile detention are Indigenous. Young Indigenous people in detention are 74% more likely to end up in adult prisons. Even Indigenous children are 26 times more likely to be in detention than non-Indigenous children.
In 1991, the Royal Commission investigated 99 deaths in the custody and came up with 339 recommendations in order to reduce the imprisonment of Indigenous Australia. People may ask, how could this issue remain this serious after 25 years since the Royal Commission announced their report? In fact, the situation is getting worse. Imprisonment rate has doubled from 14% at time of Royal Commission. The reason attributed to the high imprisonment rate might be rooted in the criminal justice system of Australia. The justice system is problematic since it encourages police to place people in detention. Mandatory sentencing aims to protect the public and ensure community safety by harshly punishing criminals. However, this has created a cycle of imprisonment and re-offending. Moreover, the system is prejudiced. It places Indigenous people in a disadvantaged place. For example, the Northern Territory government introduced the paperless arrest laws, which allows officers to jail a person with no warrant and no charge for 4 hours. This policy contradicts to the Royal Commission's recommendation, which suggests that jailing people should be as the last resort. The failure of the Royal Commission pointedly indicates that the government have failed to act in the past 25 years. However, this problem has become a national crisis and immediate responses are required.
A lot of us are now familiar with the mistreatment, abuse, and torture of youths at Dondale Youth Detention Centre. Australia's Shame, an episode broadcast by current affairs program Four Corners, has documented these injustices. A link will be provided to the episode within the description box. Young detainees at Dondale were subject to weeks inside the Behavioural Management Unit, or BMU, a small cell with no windows, poor ventilation, and no running water. In fact, the only water available in the cell was from the toilet. The Dondale youth were also physically and mentally abused, being tear-gassed and racially vilified by prison guards and staff. Yesterday, on October 11th, 2016, marked Day 1 of the Royal Commission into the Protection and Detention of Children in the Northern Territory. National Children's Commissioner Megan Mitchell bemoaned the poor education standards and lack of a robust complaints process as major pitfalls of youth detention centres across Australia and in Dondale. Like caged animals, Mitchell described how the young detainees were fearful of making complaints, as many were concerned about retribution by the staff. Furthermore, Mitchell opined that the lack of a Bill of Rights in Australia made it even more difficult to ensure the government complied with its obligations as a signatory to various conventions. As a result, it is increasingly important to support the OPCAT, or Optional Protocol to the Convention Against Torture, an extension of the Convention Against Torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment of punishment. The Australian government has signed the OPCAT, but has not yet ratified the agreement. Under the OPCAT, State parties must agree to internal inspections of places of detention by the United Nations Subcommittee on the Prevention of Torture. This would also lead to unannounced and unrestricted visits to youth prisons and centres by independent national and international monitoring bodies with financial independence. Not only can these bodies review and comment on laws and policies, such as the infamous spit hood placed on Dylan Voller at Dondale, but they can also conduct confidential interviews with children in detention to make sure their voices are heard. The OPCAT can ensure higher national standards in prisons and give young detainees a voice. The good news is, you and I, everyday citizens of Australia, can make a difference. On our Facebook page and in the description of this podcast, we have posted web links to an online petition run by Amnesty International where you can email the Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull to call for the ratification of OPCAT. We hope this podcast has given you an insight into the issues that pervade the youth justice system in Australia and the programs and initiatives that can put Australia back onto the right path in ensuring equality, effectiveness, and empathy towards young prisoners and young Indigenous prisoners. Remember, you can make a difference. Check out our description boxes for more information. Thank you.